was coming in, Becca and Jeff were trying to sign you all up to join them as volunteers. And both of them told me they have never been so fulfilled as they are right now. It's not easy work. We train you to become a volunteer deputy registrar. You have to take a test to get your certification. You thought you were done with that stuff in high school, but you aren't. We then send you out in the beautiful Houston summer to sweat through your clothes and meet unregistered, eligible Texans where they are, bring them onto the rolls, and then personally choose to stay in touch with them every single election cycle. Here's what you need to vote. Here are the candidates who align with your values. Here's the form of voter ID that you need. Here's when early voting starts. Here's your nearest polling location. All the things that those who are in positions of power right now try to keep from those who are out of power to ever have to relinquish their power in the first place. The only way that we're going to get it back, it won't be through money. It won't be through social media. It won't be through technology. There is no silver bullet or magic button. It is getting out there and doing the hard work and allowing yourself to hope and understanding that the consequences that your heart might be broken. Who among us has not had their heart broken by the state of Texas? In 2018, 2020, 22, 24, we don't have enough time for me to name all the years and all the ways in which Texas has tried to break us down. But we continue to step up and stand up to the accounting at these moments of truth. And never before, in the entirety at least of our lives, and you'd be hard-pressed to find so in the life of this country, has so much been on the line. The very question of America, 249 years into this thing, is in the balance right now. And just think about this. I know the days are dark, and the hour is late, and the window is closing. I mean, it is pretty damn dire. Let's not kid ourselves. But 249 years into this, think about the generations that preceded ours and what they were up against. Freeing themselves in 1776 on forward from the mightiest empire on the planet at the time. Not even 100 years later, deciding the issue of whether one American could own another American, and whether a part of this country could rise in rebellion to the whole, sacrificing 300,000 lives, Union dead, in that war, to determine whether we are in fact created equally and will be treated equally under the law. And then if you're thinking about heartbreak, imagine Reconstruction in Texas. And not too far from where we are, Fort Bend County elects the first African American to serve in the position of sheriff in any county in the United States of America. And we do that right here in Southeast Texas, right? Only to have white supremacists and the full force and power of the Texas government, under Governor Saul Ross at the time, come in and ride to the rescue of those terrorized whites, not unlike the Afrikaners who were welcoming as refugees right now to the United States of America, and forcibly evicted every black office holder from those positions of public trust to which they fairly and freely and democratically were elected into in the first place. If you think your heart is broken, how did that feel for those office holders in Fort Bend County back then? To see everything that those who have died in that Civil War have won to be lost for 90 years of absolute, complete darkness, segregation, and Jim Crow in America. And Karthik said it earlier. How did we win it back? I mean, yes, thank God for LBJ, the first president of the state of Texas, who used all of the political capital at his disposal to get civil rights across the line. But why did he do it? It was the nameless and thankless and unsung heroes, just like the people in this room who went decade after decade, year after year. Some of them losing their lives in the process. Lynched, strung up, tortured, brutalized, and killed. We'll never know their names, but for their sacrifice, their struggle, their service. Where would we be right now? The next year, in 1965, You know, after LBJ has told Dr. King and Andrew Young, look, I'd love for you to be able to vote in Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida, the states of the former Confederacy, but I used it all on civil rights, I just don't have the power. And King walks out of that meeting and tells Young, we got to go get this guy some power. And so every day thereafter, at the end of 64, into 65, everyday Americans, you and me, we're marching to the courthouse steps. We're talking to our state legislators. We're lighting up the switchboard at the Capitol. We're calling the president. We're marching. We're protesting. We're sitting. We're doing everything we can think to do to break through. Until one of us, 24-year-old John Lewis, in Selma, Alabama, on the 7th of March, 1965, with 600 fellow Americans at his back, finally does. And those images transmitted around the world of this guy getting beat nearly to death for having the courage of his convictions so shocked, galvanized the conscience of this country that LBJ, our favorite Texan in the White House, is able to call a joint session of Congress together on the 15th of March, just 8 days later. And he reminded us at that time, he said, look, this is a really rare thing in America, so pay attention. As it was at Lexington and Concord, as it was 100 years ago at that courthouse in Appomattox, he could have added, as it was in June of 44 on those beaches in Normandy, when everyday Houstonians were willing to give their lives to fight fascism overseas and defend democracy here at home. So it is today in Selma, in the year of our Lord, 1965. Everyday Americans willing to do whatever they have to do, even if it includes giving their lives so that we fulfill our promise to ourselves, to the rest of the world, to this generation, and everyone that follows. Well, I'll tell you what, Johnson was not just talking about John Lewis. He wasn't just talking about those who marched in 1965. He was talking about us. This is our moment of truth, where the question is being called, who are we? Will we submit the powerful and strong? Will we continue to be governed by the rule of law? Will we allow this would-be tyrant to undermine the Constitution and the rule of law, to turn his back on these hard-won alliances that were won by people from this community 80 years ago on those beaches in Normandy? Or will we take the sides of dictators and fascists against democracies and free people? I mean, this one is on us. And so listen, I'm with you. I've had my heart broken a couple of times by the state of Texas, okay? I put myself out there with you. Starting way back in 2017, when I showed up here, an unknown congressman from West Texas, you all showed up to greet me, to meet me, to welcome me, to say that you would have my back, and you were with me through the 253 other counties of the state. And listen, though we did not beat Ted Cruz in that race, and man, I'm sorry about that. But think about what happened around the rest of the state. 12 insurgent Democrats defeated 12 incumbent entrenched Republicans in the state house. People running for Congress who have no business beating these well-funded Republican incumbents like Colm Allred, who defeated Pete Sessions in North Texas, or Lizzie Cameron Fletcher, a little bit closer to home. They won their races. We defeated an incumbent Republican county judge in Harris County. 17 amazing, strong women won judicial positions right here in Harris County. We can do this stuff. But look, I hope you're seeing the pattern here, right? We make this transformation possible in Texas. And then what happens? In 2019, the next legislative session, they changed the election laws to make it that much harder for those who propelled these victories to ever have a chance to vote again. So the point is today, this is the toughest state in the nation in which to cast a ballot. It's the toughest state in the nation in which to register to vote. The toughest in which to participate in our politics. But 9 million registered Texans didn't vote in 2022 when the most obscene abortion ban in America was on the ballot. when 21 lives from Uvalde were on the ballot,